offence archaeology on Twitter. Quite terrifying.
Don't beg Jeff Bezos. Charge him, for God's sake.
Have a day off.
Talk Radio. More taste, more flavour.
Reach for the story.
More outspoken.
Error 5092. Argument failed to start.
Talk Radio.
There's still a good argument for listening.
Welcome back to the Independent Republic of Mike Graham, right here on Talk Radio. Kevin O'Sullivan coming up at 1 o'clock, in for Ian Collins. And then, of course, Jeremy Kyle is back at 4. Lots more for us to do here between now and then. A further 350 Russian individuals and entities have now been hit by sanctions designed to impact the Kremlin following the invasion of Ukraine. The UK government has announced, and that is breaking news there for the moment. Let's talk to Tony, who's in Bristol. Hi, Tony.
OK, so we're not getting any of this nice Nord Stream 2 cheap Russian gas then, and my bill's just going up. I want to know...
I didn't know there was any cheap gas anywhere. Is it cheap?
Yes, it is. It's much cheaper than the gas that they're shipping over from... A lot of it's actually coming from the US, but obviously North Sea too. And I want to see some regulation of these prices. Otherwise, we're all going into the Great Reset, Mike.
Well, absolutely right.
To say we will own nothing but supposedly be happy.
Well, I mean, you may say that. I, as you know, don't go along with that nonsense. But the point about the expensive gas is that the point of not regulating it has got us where we are. So what you're calling for is nationalisation, effectively.
Well, no, I think we need a regulator for gas, just like...
Well, we have got a regulator for gas.
Else.
We've got a regulator.
Well, what about fuel prices?
It's just not very good. The regulators are useless.
Aren't they? Yeah, sack them.
Well, there's no point having a bleeding regulator if they don't... You keep telling us they've got a fuel cap and it keeps going up. How does that work?
Well, it doesn't, does it? And so let's sack the boss of whoever's trying to regulate the gas.
Well, the bloke who's in charge of Ofgem, right, used to be in charge of the UK government's Department of Climate Change. So that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, and I'd like to see some peace in Ukraine, like everyone else would. But
yes.
I think it's actually a lot simpler than people are saying.
Uh-huh.
If you have a look at Putin's demands, they're not totally unreasonable. He's saying that there should be an independent Ukraine that's not in NATO.
Right.
Give us that guarantee, we'll stop shooting. The other thing is...
You don't normally talk to people who threaten to shoot you if you don't give them a guarantee, do you?
Talk. Even during the IRA, Mike, you know this, that during the Troubles, they were talking.
They weren't always talking. Sometimes we were killing them. No, sometimes we were killing them.
Well, at the same time...
You've obviously forgotten about death. You've forgotten about death on the rock, haven't you?
Well, there was talking...
There weren't much talking going on down there.
There were talking going on all the way through whilst the fighting's going on in Northern Ireland.
Well, there's talking going on right now in Ukraine, but it's not getting anywhere.
Well, it would be nice if it did, wouldn't it? If someone would actually listen to what the demands are.
But why should Ukraine give up any part of their sovereign territory, which is what he's also asking for?
They gave up their sovereignty in the coup in 2014.
Who did?
Didn't they? Yes, they did.
Who?
There was a coup in Ukraine, and I don't think it's been really a sovereign country ever since then. It's been remote controlled by people like Viktor Yanukovych, the National Endowment for Democracy.
What have you been reading?
You think that Ukraine is a totally independent country? It's not. It's gone over to the West.
I see. And when did you become an expert in Ukraine, Tony?
I'm not an expert in
Thank you very much indeed. Cheerio.